Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. How's my audio, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu? Is it working fine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was testing out a new microphone today, but I decided to switch back to my regular equipment. So welcome everyone tonight to the Wednesday reading of Caitanya-caritāmṛta, the unedited version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta by our bona fide spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, who traveled to America in 1965. We're reading the diaries of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda for our membership group. And everyone, we're getting lots of messages from everyone globally on a weekly basis of how much they're enjoying these pastimes of Srila Prabhupada in the early years of this movement, which is a very important movement for humanity. And nowadays, countries are overcome with this spirit of nationalism. And this nationalistic spirit, mentality that people cultivate is another form of Maya, completely illusory and temporary. At one time, a person is thinking, well, I'm American. And then all of a sudden you decide, I think I'll change, I'll become a Canadian. Or maybe I'll go to South America, I'll become a Brazilian. So your designation can change by your whim. You can become this or that. This is the illusion of material life. We're not American, we're not Canadian, we're not European. Our true identity is that we are spirit souls, servants of Krishna. And until we rise up off this bodily platform, we will remain in the material world. This is the sign of a person in material consciousness. And of course, nowadays, there's so much talk here in North America, in Canada. Everybody is so concerned about being a Canadian. There's a complete turnoff to the government here. And in America, of course, and many of you are from America, you are aware that the former president of the country was recently attacked in, very interesting, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, in Butler, Pennsylvania, where Prabhupada arrived. So it certainly had my attention to see that a great person like Srila Prabhupada was there in Butler, in 1965, and then all of a sudden, in 2024, Butler, Pennsylvania is in the headlines as a place where this attempted assassination took place. And after that, the party that's in competition is having a convention. So I took some time to look at the convention. And by the way, looking at the former president, to me, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, he had a different aura to his face when he came out at the convention to greet everyone. It appeared to me that he had some comprehension that death had just missed him on Saturday. You know, it's when you have a near-death experience, it is sobering. It is revealing, and they have some sentimental belief that God is with them. They don't truly understand it. But at the same time, there's some spiritual sentiment there. So now at the convention, all they do is glorify this so-called person. Oh, we're going to vote for him, vote for him, vote for him. And, you know, I wish the devotees had the same enthusiasm to glorify Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada is a true savior of mankind. And unfortunately, the spirit of promoting Srila Prabhupada has been lost in his own movement by his ambitious disciples who tried to usurp his position. It's pathetic. I just saw a video of one of our godbrothers, Shivaram from Hungary, who's incidentally from Canada originally, and Hungarian by birth. His name was Steve, and when he joined the temple in Montreal when I was there, as the Sankirtan leader, vice president, cook, I was doing 3 different duties. He seemed to be, you know, a very sincere disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And somehow or other, he has gone through a history with our mission. He became a follower of Tamal. So he's what they call infected by Tamalism. You know, there's different diseases. Of course, lots of people, Garuda Prabhu, have been infected by the disease of sectarianism in our mission. And instead of glorifying Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide Acharya, they're glorifying themselves. For example, he does this promotion. I sent it to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. And I took a moment to listen to him speak. He's talking about all the books that he's written. He doesn't talk about Prabhupada's books and the potency of those books and the key to the mystery of spiritual life that's contained in them. He's talking about his books. And he says very poignantly that these books are also for Paramahansas. If you're a Paramahansa, you should read these. Oh, excuse me. Could you send me the list of Paramahansas that we can refer to, that you're referring to in your so-called promotion of your books? So we talked about this last week, and it's very important that we work together as a team. Unfortunately, in our mission, because of the contamination of the guru system that was introduced by the GBC after Prabhupada's departure, the movement has splintered into individual cults. And we gave the example of Atlanta. In Atlanta now, there's a new organization called Krishna Life. And there's still an ISKCON temple there. Yes. And along with that, this Bhakti Vikash has also opened up his own separate movement, and he announced it a few years ago that he would do this. He would make a different organization. He even recommended to the members of the GBC Garuda that they just go ahead and start building their own organizations, because basically they weren't, in simple terms, working together. They're not working together, unfortunately. And it's evident by their behavior. Prabhupada said you can demonstrate your love for me by how you work together to spread my mission. Are people doing that? Well, we see all over the world now, everybody is a lone survivor, a independent operator, an independent preacher. Everyone's on YouTube, on Facebook, trying to become a YouTube celebrity, a Facebook celebrity, a Zoom call celebrity. Does that mean much? No, it doesn't mean anything. Not in the relative sense of how many people are on this planet, how many people are using the internet for their own personal ambitions. But this type of splintered sectarianism is spread throughout the world in all groups, and even in the ISKCON group and the splinter groups that have come out of that ISKCON group. And there's lots of them. There's many of them, unfortunately. And this is a reflection of the confusion that has come about through this changing of books and the introduction into Prabhupada's mission of 150 Diksha gurus who are not qualified to take that position. Well, someone could say, well, how can you say that? Well, how many people, look, for example, in this advertisement that I sent to you, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. Now, this is a current advertisement. This Prabhu is in North America trying to sell his books, not Prabhupada's books, and at the same time, he's telling everyone, if you listen to the commercial, oh, this is also for all classes of devotees, including the Paramahansas. I'm thinking to myself, holy mackerel. Is that a term? Is that a term just from Canada? I'm not sure. But I'm thinking, how is this that this person could actually say these words seriously to the internet public? Why did he do it? Because he thinks it. He thinks that he's a Paramahansa, or that his god brothers are Paramahansa. Who is it that you're claiming are these Paramahansas that are qualified to read your books along with everybody else? He goes, they're for kids, they're for adults, they're for devotees, they're for Paramahansas. Oh, excuse me. It's like recently, I'll finish up here. There was one devotee that passed away, a disciple of Jayadvaita Swami. Kadamba Kanana is his name. Okay. So we're, of course, mourn his passing, and we wish him all the best. But he had a release of a video 17 days after his passing, Krishna Kata. Now, it didn't come out right away. People, his disciples, his followers, oh yeah, they carried out his instruction to show it 17 days later. So Vishwakarma Das here thought, well, it's a public viewing, I'll watch it. And he's explaining, oh, now I've gone back to Godhead, in so many words, he's announcing it. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you, my disciples. when you leave the planet, we'll all join together in Goloka Vrindavan for a kirtan. Well, that's a nice thought, but scripturally, it is very peculiar to hear that type of pronouncement, especially from someone who claimed to be a Diksha Guru in the line of disciplic succession from Jayadvaita Swami. Is this Sahajiism or some kind of confusion that's spread all over the world now? And everybody's forgot who is the preeminent guru? Dasa Avatar Das, who is the Founder-Ācārya of this movement? Who is the person that we should all be celebrating as the representative of Srila Vyasadeva, a representative of Lord Chaitanya, the greatest person in the history of the world? And nobody is bringing it up. Nobody will say a word. Look what happened, Yaśodā. And you know it, and we've talked about it. We have a picture, everyone. Let me fix this. Sorry. I was wondering what was going on here. We had a picture of one of our godbrothers who I worked with for years in Canada here, Gopal Krishna. Now, I worked with him. I'm sorry I'm mentioning names, but I'm only telling people the facts. We're not lying. We're not manufacturing things. We're not concocting them. We're not misrepresenting them. We're just talking about it, just so all of us get a proper understanding of the state of affairs of Prabhupada's mission in 2024. Okay, fair enough. He has a picture of himself with a Vyasa-san, which is twice as big as Srila Prabhupada's, that I posted online. Excuse me, where is Prabhupada in this position of being at the back of the class, as I said, Garuda Prabhu, instead of at the head of the class? This is the problem. And this disease, everyone, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and you know this, we've talked about it, has permeated through the entire mission by all these bogus gurus that have come forward and infected all the new people that were trying to take up this process, and they have misled them by misrepresenting this philosophy for their own personal purposes, Krishna Katha. Yes, and instead of glorifying Prabhupada, they're glorifying themselves. If you can't see it, if you don't understand it, it's your defect. And we have told you this, and we will continue to explain this to people, that Prabhupada is the bona fide Diksha Siksha Guru for every one of us. And any kind of deviation from that point of view is a reflection of your own weak perception or understanding of this mission. And we will not tolerate it in our group with the people we're working with. We want people to come forward that understand this principle and want to step up and put Prabhupada at the focal point of this mission for the rest of 10,000 years. This is not a whimsical thing. And people here, we do expect that everyone here will cooperate together on this mission, because by cooperation, we get strength. There's strength in numbers. If you don't have cooperation, it's very hard to be successful. Just like the bamboo sticks, we've used that example, Prabhupada gave it to us. When you tie them together, they become like a weapon. Boom. If there's one stick on its own, it can easily be broken. So this focal point on Srila Prabhupada is the mission of this group. We have the beautiful classes, we do the readings, we have the newsletters, we have the YouTube channel, we have thousands of views, we have the Facebook tool of social media that we're using, and some other, we have a small team of people that are helping us, and we do thank them for doing this. This has made this process more potent for us to get the message out, but we need help. We need people to join together, step up, and do things. Not just look, not just think, but act as a group to spread the mission of Lord Chaitanya in association with like-minded devotees in this Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. So, enough of this other guy. Oh, vote for him, vote for him, vote for him. I don't want to say the name because you hear it so much, it's insane. Maybe I'll say it once, Trump. They said, Trump. What about Prabhupada? What about Prabhupada? What about Prabhupada? What about Prabhupada? What is wrong with this? It's so bad, everybody's been contaminated by it. The cancer is spread everywhere by this misrepresentation of Prabhupada's position in his own movement. This is a tragedy. And fortunately, we have a small group of people, very small. We just started really trying to work together. And I want to thank everyone that donated for our GoFundMe campaign to reprint the Srimad Bhagavatams. Yes, that's a great victory. And we have another plan to build a Prabhupada Memorial Center somewhere in the world, which will focus our spiritual master as the most preeminent representative of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Lord Chaitanya in the history of the world. That's our opportunity. And we're asking everyone, please get a hold of us at your convenience and discuss it with you. I can send you a draft plan. We're looking for an architect that can help us. So if you know anyone, we want to get a conceptual drawing made of it. And we'll move forward with these ideas. We're trying to get this going. It's not easy. They stole all the assets. We have a $45 million building in Toronto. The people there did nothing to put it up. And we are, it's so bad there. None of us even have any interest in going there. Just look what's going on in San Diego, Krishna Katha, in Sacramento for Ron Singh. It is absolutely pathetic. So I apologize. Let's go forward here. We're at Tuesday, the 17th of August 17th. Now, this is a very interesting section because look at how much Prabhupada has written here. Remember, we talked about this. Some days he didn't write anything, but some days he wrote a lot. And he's getting used to this method of transmitting his thoughts back then to us now in his Vani presence. On Tuesday, the 17th, today morning, the sky is scattered with cloud. The ship is going towards the western side. I feel a little bit well after passing my stool. The ship is running against wind current. The sea is a little rougher. At 10:30, we saw the south coast of Ceylon with a white lighthouse. Two ships passed from the opposite side. Some daring fishermen were fishing in small boats. Some distance, they appeared to be almost drowning in the water. But next moment, they appeared to be safely working. There is sunshine, but the sky is not clear. The captain informed me that by text 6 hours we shall reach Colombo Port. The hilly southernmost Ceylon coast is said to be 4 to 5 miles away from our ship. This means the fishermen were fishing in small boats 5 to 10 miles away from their native coast. Certainly a very daring job. At about 2 p.m., we have now turned towards northern front. The sky is cloudy, but we are forwardly, steadily. Today I'm better than the other 3 days. We had seasickness. Today I'm better than the other 3 days. At 3 p.m., the Colombo city became faintly visible from the ship. The color of the water in the Indian Ocean is different from the Bay of Bengal. the ship reached exactly at 40:30 in the port, but the management of Colombo port could not receive the ship for want of berth, and then it is anchored on the shore waiting to enter the port. At about 9 p.m., the ship was escorted by the pilot, and we entered the dockyard, very old pattern. But there were many ships from various countries, including passenger and cargo ships. At night, the dockyard ships assumed a brilliant spectacle on account of profuse light. We rested the whole night, the ship being anchored. Next morning, barges loaded with goods arrived near the ship. Wednesday, August 18th, 1965, Srila Prabhupada writes, today, 18/8/65, I felt quite normal, and the seasickness completely removed. The ship remained silent the whole day on account of hazy sky, and only a few loads of goods were admitted. I wanted to see the Colombo city, but I could not make any arrangement. The ship was standing at the midstream, and I did not like to go alone. And on Tuesday, October 19th, 1965, Krishna Kata, back in time, Prabhupada on the Jaladuta, heading for America, the amazing adventure in the service of Lord Chaitanya. Look at this beautiful writing. I put that in because I wanted all of you to see Prabhupada's handwriting, how much he did write into his diary, and how much he was absorbed in his journey to serve his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, and how excited he was to take on this adventure for Krishna. And we're going to move forward. We'll keep reading from this diary as we move forward with these classes in the next few months. And we want to thank all of you for joining us and being a part of this mission to work together to serve the Sankirtan mission of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then we'll have the reading and discussion led by His Grace, the wonderful Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in California. Haribol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Dāsa Yamunā-tīra-vanacārī Yamunā-tīra-vanacārī Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Muspat Paramahansa Parivrajagācārya Sattvaresvara Smadhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai Ramacārya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Bhog Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giri Godan ki jai Vrindavan Dham ki jai Navadvip Dham ki jai Ganga Maya ki jai Jamuna Maya ki jai Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai Swami Bhaktivedanta ki jai All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam Tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta. As we do every week, we will be reading a few selected verses from the Adi Leela, chapter 1, text number 18 to 22. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Glory to Sri Caitanya and Nityananda. Glory to Advaita Chandra and glory to all the devotees of Sri Gaura, Lord Chaitanya. Etina Thakur Gaudiya ke Karye Chenayatma Sat Etinera Charana Bandhana Tire Morinat. These 3 deities of Vrindavana, Madan Mohan, Govinda, and Gopinatha, have absorbed the heart and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Lord Chaitanya. I worship their lotus feet, for they are the lords of my heart. Grantera Rambi Karimangala Charana Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan Tinera Smarana. In the beginning of this narration, simply by remembering the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord, and the personality of Godhead, I have invoked their benediction. Tinera smaraneyai vigna vinashana, anayaseyai nijavanchita purana. Such remembrance destroys all difficulties and very easily enables one to fulfill his own desires. Simangala charanoi trivida prakar, vastu nirdesha shirvada namaskaram. The invocation involved three processes: defining the objective, offering benedictions, and offering obeisances. We will be reading from the original, non-edited, non-adulterated 1974 version of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, all synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Text from Adi Lila, chapter 4, text number 266. Etina Trishna Mora Nahila Purana, Vijatya Bhave Nahitaha Asvadhana. These, Tina, 3, Trishna, desires, Mora, my, Nahila, were not, Purana, satisfied, Vijatiya, of the opposite partner of a relationship, Bhave, in ecstasy, Nahe, is not possible, Taha, that, Asvadana, tasting. Translation: but these three desires have not been satisfied, for one cannot enjoy them in a contrary position. Text 267. Radhikara babakandi andikarevine, setina sukha kabunahe asvadane. Radhikara of Srimati Radharani. Bhavakanti, luster of ecstatic love. Angikar, accepting. Vine, without. Se, those. Tina, 3. Sukha, happiness. Kabhu, at any time. Nahe, is not possible. Asvadane, tasting. Translation: unless I accept the luster of the ecstatic love of Sri Radhika, these three desires cannot be fulfilled. Text 268. Radha bhavangi karidari taravarna, tina sukha svaditik habhava tirna. Radha bhava, the moods of Radharani. Angikare, accepting. Dhari, taking. Tara, varna, her bodily complexion. Tina, 3. Sukha, happiness. Asvadite, to taste. Haba, I shall. Avatirna, descend as an incarnation. Translation: therefore, assuming Radharani's sentiments and bodily complexion, I shall descend to fulfill these three desires. Text 269. Sarva bhave koila Krishna eta nishtai, inakale yugavatar samai. Sarva bhave, in all respects, koila, made, Krishna, Lord Krishna, this, ta, certainly, nishtaya, decision, hinakale, at this time, oila, came, yuga avatara, of the incarnation according to the age, samaya, the time. Translation: in this way, Lord Krishna came to a decision. Simultaneously, the time came for the incarnation of the age. Text 270. Se kale Shri Advaita kare naradana, tanhahum kare koela Krishna akarshana. Se kale, at that time, Shri Advaita, Advaita-ācārya, karena, performs, aradhana, worship, tanhara, of him, Omkare, by the tumultuous call, Kaila did, Krishna to Lord Krishna, Akarashana, attraction. Translation, at that time, Sri Advaita was earnestly worshiping him. Advaita attracted him with his loud call. Om Ajnana-timirandasya jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shwanyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadati Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shadkaromishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author of Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, gave a very systematic detail of how the appearance of Lord Krishna and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come into this world. Because the question will come up from various persons who may not necessarily be devotees of Krishna or practitioners, that you people follow this particular path. How do you explain these different avatars or incarnations? Because there is a lot of misconception and misunderstanding regarding the personality of God. This has been debated and discussed and by so many philosophers and scholars for thousands of years. But here we see in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta there's very specific purposes why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes, and who are his associates, what are his activities, when does he come to perform those activities. During some of our travels in South India, we had the opportunity to speak with various members of other Vaishnava Sampradayas. And many of them are very elevated souls, scholars, Vaishnavas, who follow Vedic principles very nicely, very well trained. But when it comes to understanding the personality of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is not so easy. We find that in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came from Bengal to Jagannath Puri, when he came into the temple, he fainted. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya arranged to bring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house. And there was a discussion that is recorded in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta between Gopinath Acharya, a relative of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and some other follower of Sarvabhauma. And basically what it was is that Gopinath Acharya, who was a confidential devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was telling this follower of Vasudeva Sarvabhauma that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there was a discussion with various points that are recorded there, with various objections, which are typical of persons who are not followers of the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition, that Krishna does not come in Kali Yuga, and there are so many different other arguments. And at one point, Gopinath-Acharya said, when you receive the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then and only then will you be able to understand his position. And this is quite significant, because this understanding of the exalted position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not something that can be achieved simply by scholarship, by academic knowledge, by study of Sanskrit or Bengali. Many persons have these qualifications, and we see many of them do not understand, because this is a revelation process. This is a process of obtaining the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his bona fide representative, his authorized representative, such as Srila Prabhupada. Because Gopinath-Acharya made the point that when you will receive that mercy, then you will understand. We know from Caitanya-caritāmṛta and Prabhupada's purports that there are so many evidences given from different scriptures, Vedic scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam, Garuda Purana, Brahmanda Purana, so many other Vedic scriptures explaining the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when it comes to the confidential reasons why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, we see in this section of verses here, this is very detailed. To experience the loving sentiments of Radharani, to experience the mood of Radharani. In order to understand these different tattvas or confidential truths, one has to hear from an authorized acharya. I remember sometime back in Badger having a discussion, Badger, California, with a follower of another Gaudiya Vaishnava practitioner who is claiming that in Kali Yuga, the incarnation of Kalki does not come. Well, anybody can make any outlandish statements. Anybody can make any crazy statements, but we know from Srimad Bhagavatam, in the first canto, in the 3rd chapter, there's description of the future appearance of Kalki avatar. In another place, this person said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, if he didn't act this way or that way, he would have been a devotee of Mahavishnu. Some other nonsensical statement. So one has to be very careful where we repose our oral reception, where we choose to hear from. We have seen since the departure of Srila Prabhupada in 1977, so many persons who claim to be disciples, who claim to be followers, who claim to understand Srila Prabhupada's teachings, but yet it is simply a matter of time before these persons will simply speak some nonsense idea. And this is due to one basic fundamental mistake. The mistake is they do not hear. They think they know. Again, this physicality, this living presence, yes, to have the living association and physical presence of a pure, powerful Paramamsa like Srila Prabhupada is definitely very beneficial. It is most beneficial. But one has to hear the message. It is not simply physical proximity. In 1969, there was a question that was raised in Los Angeles where one of Prabhupada's servants went to Srila Prabhupada. Why is it, Prabhupada, that many persons who were very close to you, who became personal servants and personal associates, many of them end up leaving or falling back into Maya. And Prabhupada's explanation was very simple. He says, yes, they did some nice service, very respectful service. But then they started to think that the spiritual master is an ordinary man just like them. And then the problem starts. We have seen this. Even persons who had so much close association, physical living association with the spiritual master, but when it came to point of understanding his teachings, of faithfully carrying on his original teachings, then there was a major problem. We all know the famous statement of Srila Prabhupada in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta and Bhagavatam purport that familiarity breeds contempt. There are restrictions given in the Vedas, in all the Shastras, in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One should never think of the spiritual master, of the Acharya. When we say Acharya, bona fide Acharya, not some voted in, elected, some concocted idea. Bona fide, realized Acharya. Now, one should never think that such a personality is an ordinary person. We've often discussed as part of these classes that Srila Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada many times explained that these books I did not write personally. They were dictated by Krishna. They were written by Krishna. This is quite significant. We see in the Caitanya-caritāmṛta in the Antya Lila, chapter 5, how Prabhupada said, when the spiritual master speaks, it's to be understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking through him. Now, this is a very different concept for materialistic persons to understand. How can God, the Supreme Lord, speak through a person who appears to be a human being, who appears to be a regular person? I mean, he was walking, eating, sleeping. But for those who understand the transcendental science, they know that the transcendental science is transmitted to this bona fide, unchanged line of perfect teachers. In the Pramaya Ratnavali of Baladevi Vibhūshana, in the first chapter, the introduction, he has a very nice verse in which he describes the parampara of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. He says, Bhavati vichintya vidusha niravakara guru parampara nityam ekantitvam siddhyati yayodayati yena haritosham. That a devotee will incur haritosham, the mercy and favor of Lord Hari, by meditating on this guru parampara nityam, this eternal line, this perfect line of spiritual parampara. And what is the characteristic of these members? Vidusha, faultless, and niravakaraha, perfect, completely pure. Now, after 1977, a new idea has been introduced, that a member of the parampara, or so-called acharya, may become a fallen soul, a debauchee, a sexmonger, an embezzler, a thief, a sexual predator. So many false ideas have been introduced by persons who did not take the time to submissively hear. We often related the story of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Kaliya Lake in Vrindavan. Prabhupada in the purport says, even though one may remain constantly with the spiritual master, unless he understands, unless he hears the message of the spiritual master, he will not be able to understand things as they are. And Prabhupada used the term, even though he may remain constantly with the spiritual master. You know, it is well known that there's many disciples that were initiated by Prabhupada who never physically saw him. They did service in his mission. They followed the principles, the chanting. They were initiated through the system that he had introduced. And they were perfect devotees. Anybody who is a little familiar with Prabhupada's books and Gaudiya Vaishnavism knows there's a restriction that before one becomes initiated, one should undergo what's called Purashcharya, 6 months of preparatory practice. This is what Prabhupada introduced in his movement. Chanting, following Mangal Arti, Tulsi worship, Bhagavatam class, Samkirtan, preaching, service. 6 months minimum of that, and then one would be eligible to be initiated. But in the Hare Bhaktivedanta said the disciple should live physically with the guru for 6 months. Well, how many people got to do that? A few people in 1966, 67, if many. Most of the association was all done by the process that Prabhupada introduced. So one has to hear from the Acharya and get away from the weeds, those weeds of love, puja, pratishta, this prophet adoration distinction. This is what prevents a devotee and a practitioner from understanding things properly. In 1970 in Los Angeles, Prabhupada wrote a letter to one devotee. Prabhupada says, as soon as there is personal motivation, it is not possible to understand our Krishna consciousness philosophy. So this is the explanation from Prabhupada. Don't take it from me. I'm a nobody. But Prabhupada clearly presents, he clearly says, he directly explains that if you have this personal motivation for name, fame, power, money-making, prestige, the whole lonely list of materialistic ideas, you will not be able to understand Krishna conscious philosophy. That is why, as part of the discussion, I've had devotees tell me, oh, why do you two spend so much time talking about this one, that one? Because it is important to analyze what is correct, what is incorrect, what is bona fide, and what is not bona fide, what is the proper path, and what is the improper path. How many times have we discussed the idea of inventing and manufacturing new mantras? Did Prabhupada tell the leaders in this movement to manufacture new mantras? Everybody knows, that's a devotee. Sampradaya vihinaye mantraste nishphalamataha. That if you receive your mantra from unauthorized sources, it will be useless. And we see pictures on the internet of people chanting, inventing some kind of mantras. Now somebody may say, well, they're just chanting the name of Radhe. They're just chanting the name of Krishna. But you have to chant according to the direction and instruction of the Acharya, not manufactured some mantra from some God knows where it came from, some rickshaw driver or some Babaji or somebody. We don't know where they came up with some of these ideas. Why not just follow the path that Prabhupada has given? This is the proven path. It's the authorized path. It is the simple path for success. That is the secret of success. And those people from their Paramahamsa assembly line who try to tell you otherwise, don't listen to them. You will be misled, guaranteed. Follow the Acharya Srila Prabhupada, his original instruction, in his original unrevised books, associate with devotees who promote Srila Prabhupada, chant Hare Krishna, worship Tulsi, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, and avoid the association of self-serving, self-appointed so-called acharyas. The Paramahamsa assembly line will lead you nowhere. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
The Paramahamsa assembly line.
That's what we saw in 1978 at Mayapur. The bogus concoction that Prabhupada had appointed 11 initiating acharyas. No one has been able to prove it in 46 years, and they will never be able to prove it because that's not what Prabhupada did. There is no record of this so-called appointment.
Very well spoken. And the fact of the matter is, the conditioned soul is under the illusion of false ego, controlled by false ego. And the false ego tries to invent different ways and means to imitate Krishna in this material world. And furthermore, in this mission, unfortunately, many of the people that joined it, even in the early days, you talk about senior devotees, they're claiming that they are the next Prabhupada, imitating him and trying to accumulate disciples and money using Prabhupada as the mechanism, the methodology. Because you say, people will say, oh, well, Prabhupada said that, therefore we have to do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they just concoct, they manufacture things. And when you hear them speak, you know that it's fake. So this is unfortunate, yes, very unfortunate. And our goal, Garuda Prabhu, is to refocus the movement, as I mentioned. The mission movement, I'm not sure where that's gone. It's floated out somewhere into the ocean. It's left the harbor. A lot of people, they talk about restoring it. Restore what? There's nobody left, except if you're initiating so-called Diksha Guru, then you've got a few people following you. What does that add up to? What does that add up to? Nothing. If you have 10 people that go, oh, you're such a great big person. You're deluded. You're big deluded. You think that you're a big deal because you've got 12 people that say, or 10 people say, oh, you're so smart. So what? Prabhupada said, we are teeny in this world, and we should always remain humble. That's as simple as it is. And that's not hard to accomplish if you chant your rounds every day. If you follow the practice of devotional service according to rules and regulations. There's a magic in this. There's a mystery that's revealed to the practitioner. That's what it is. It's like at school. If the students go to the school, your university, they want to get an MA. If they don't study, if they don't write the exams, if they don't please the professor, are they going to get a passing grade, Garuda? No. There's no difference between that and what we're doing. But the fact of the matter is, we know that many of these people don't read Prabhupada's books. They don't. They write their own books. And in this way, they miss the boat. Because there's an ocean of information for us, all of us, in these literatures. And today I wanted to, as you know, I've been rereading the Bhagavad Gita again for the so manyth time. It's always ever fresh, I must say, because that's the nature of transcendental sound. Vani incarnation is alive. So you can read it over and over again, you get insight. And the Shruta, the codes of understanding in these verses, we're going to go to verse 10 on chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm going to read the verse. I'll just read it right away. Thank you. Vitaraga bhaya kroda nanmaya mam upashritaha bahavo jnana tapasya puta mad bhavam agata. Being freed from attachment, fear, and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Codes. This is the code from Krishna. And then Prabhupada illuminates the neophyte's understanding in his purports. And we'll go down to the bottom of the page of the purport. I wanted to read a section here that I found intriguing today on the simplicity of devotional service. Simple for the simple, difficult for the cricket. One has to get rid of all three stages of attachment to the material world. Thank you. negligence of spiritual life, fear of a spiritual identity, and the conception of void that underlies the frustration of life. To get free from these three stages of the material concept of life, here is the key here, Prabhus. One has to take complete shelter of the Lord, aided by the bona fide spiritual master, and follow the disciplines and regulated principles of devotional life. The last stage of the devotional life is called bhava, or transcendental love of Godhead. According to Bhaktivedanta Sindhu, the science of devotional service, adao shraddha tata sadhu sangha ta bhajana kriya tato nartha nibriti syat tato nishta ruchis tata ata shaktis tato bhavas tata prema bhuya danchati sadhakyanam ayam premna padur bhave bhavet krama. So this is a summary, a beautiful summary here by Srila Prabhupada, and he's quoting Nectar of Devotion to illuminate us on how to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, how to solve the mystery. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization, Krishna Gata. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master. And under his instructions, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service, under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachments, attains steadiness in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This taste leads one forward to attachment for Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love for God is called prema, the highest perfectional stage of life. In the prema stage, there is constant engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, very key point here, everyone. By the slow process of devotional service, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being freed from all material attachment, from the fearfulness of one's individual spiritual personality, and from the frustrations resulting from void philosophy. Then one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. And that is Srila Prabhupada's direction for all of us, according to his understanding of Krishna consciousness, and we follow in his footsteps. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, please.
There is a systematic process to achieve the highest perfection.
Yes.
It is not by politics. It is not by nonsensical talk. It is not by secretive talks behind closed doors. It is a systematic process that has been given by Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and the Acharyas. This is what Prabhupada gave. What the society was presented in 1978 was a complete, total concoction, bypassing Srila Prabhupada's instruction, bypassing the actual process which he had given throughout all of his years from 1965 to 1977. And some people say, well, who the hell are you to make comments like that? Well, by practical observation, by analysis, and phalena pariciyate, one judges a thing by its result. The leaders of this organization have distributed millions of books. And in America, the temples are empty. The farms are empty. The devotees that were there during Prabhupada's manifested presence are no longer engaged in Prabhupada society. If they try to go back there and preach that Prabhupada is the Acharya, they'll either get beaten, they'll get kicked out. They don't want to hear it. This is the problem with self-appointed acharyas. They're only interested in promoting themselves, self-promotion, self-aggrandizement. And I know we've read this many times before, but we're going to read it again because this is very important. Just this week, I got a very nice phone call from a lady in the United States complaining about so many things going on in various devotee societies. And her point was, why is it that there is so much friction and that there is so much problem with so many of these older devotees? I mean, there are so many devotees who had personal experience with Prabhupada, so much association with Prabhupada, but yet we find a general state of confusion. And this is like this on so many different levels, whether it's Varnashram, the original books, initiation, the kirtan, the proper way of offering bhoga, so that one actually gets ultimately prasadam. This is a text from Srila Prabhupada from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Now, we're reading from the unrevised Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 42. And Prabhupada mentions at the end of the purport, one should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself. And beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the supreme person and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of the Gita. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 4th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of transcendental knowledge. Now, this couldn't be any clearer. This is very clear. Srila Prabhupada has given the instruction. It is not complicated. It's not difficult. They received an email this week with somebody who had compiled a few quotes from Srila Prabhupada about this issue of personal ambition. First is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, text number 4. Canto 1, Chapter 12, text number 4, purport. Sri Suta Goswami said, Emperor Yudhishthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was exactly like his father. He had no personal ambition and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of the Lord Sri Krishna. Then there was a letter from Srila Prabhupada on June 26, 1970, June 26, 1970, where Srila Prabhupada says, I'm just trying to organize a worldwide movement, not for any personal ambition, but to execute superior orders. Next is a letter from Srila Prabhupada on June 30th, 1970, June 30th, 1970. So I'm fervently appealing to you all not to create fracture in the solid body of the society. Please work conjointly without any personal ambition. That will help the cause. Another letter on November 1st, 1970, Srila Prabhupada said, so these two things are always side by side, Maya and Krishna. Krishna is service and Maya is sense gratification. So every moment we are prone to be subjugated by either of them. Our duty is therefore to be very, very careful. The poison is personal ambition. Something fell off here. Yeah, you can go ahead, please. I gotta fix a couple things here that fell off.
Thank you. And we'll move forward with our panel. I wanted to mention that there was on social media a person that criticized myself for promoting Prabhupada as the Acharya of our mission. And this happens, that the younger devotees come forward, Garuda, and they start to just speak all kinds of blasphemy. Why is that? Because, you know, with all due fairness to them, it's like Jesus said, forgive them not, for they know not what they do. They don't know what they're doing, but they're talking. Of course, the living entity, the human being, likes to speak, babble, speak all kinds of nonsense with no authority whatsoever, no past history, no resume, no. It's like someone at your university, they come in, they're from high school and they want to give a class. Okay. They get up, they talk nonsense. And the professor looks at him like, will you go sit down, please, and listen? Maybe you'll learn something first before you take the role of postulating some nonsense when you know nothing about what you're talking about. So this is going on, and it's a disease that's spread throughout the mission because the contamination has been going on, Garuda Prabhu, for a long time. And there have been thousands and thousands of people that have been misled by these people. And not only misled, they become very discouraged and disappointed. And this is what we're seeing every day. And this mission that we're on to restore Prabhupada to prominence as the bona fide spiritual master is drawing in lots of people, my friends. There are lots of people, lots, how many is lots? Not very many, but more than nothing. There's some kind of hope that the mystery of spiritual life will not be concealed by other ambitious people. It'll be revealed. And before we go to Garuda Prabhu, I wanted to see, I see that Garuda Prabhu, we have this Vinayak Sharma. I know he was planning to go to Harvard or one of these fine universities where you work. And he's in Japan, and he's struggling on there to be a devotee. He's a young man. And I get to speak to him regularly. He's written a couple of information points in the note today. I was wondering if he could speak a bit about his realizations in terms of how he is handling himself caught up in this ISKCON world of confusion. Vinayak Sharma, are you there? Is your mic work? Let's see. He's written something nice anyway. Maybe next time. He might be shy because next door possibly there's an ISKCONite that will kick him out of where he's staying. Garuda Prabhu, maybe you could share some of your views. Garuda Prabhu, yes. Microphone.
To you, Vishwakarma-ji, and Yaśodā-nandana-ji, and all the other devotees here.
Thank you.
There's some powerful things that both of you have communicated this evening. Very much appreciated. You know, your metaphor, Vishwakarma-ji, of the classroom, it is very true. There is a syllabus. The students who sign up for the course have a syllabus. If they deviate from the syllabus and they say that they've been reading other textbooks and not the ones assigned, then they fail the course. I mean, it's just that simple. So it's a good metaphor. You know, let's say we're ambitious. Well, be ambitious to hear Srila Prabhupada's writings. It's just that simple. You know, I heard that from Yaśodā-nandana-ji's talk. You know, be passionate to hear what Prabhupada has to say and share that with Vaishnava sisters and brothers. It's just that simple. And then one is a true teacher. when one is really trying to share the glories of Prabhupada's gifts and what he has brought as a miracle, as a miracle man.
Yes.
Even by mundane vision, even by historians, they still would have to conclude that this is a miraculous human being. What to speak of a devotee who can see more internally what Prabhupada was giving. Anyway, I mean, there's so much more I could say, but I'll just leave it at that because I know others will have things to contribute. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu, very much. And I wanted to say briefly before we move forward with the panel that all of us in our life have made mistakes. No question of that. And we might have said the wrong thing. We might have done the wrong thing. We could have broken principles. All kinds of mistakes go on because that's the nature of life. You're learning. You learn by your mistakes, hopefully. And then you pick yourself up, everyone. Sure, we can admit we're fallen people. We do make mistakes. But when we come together,
Vishwakarmaji, the only real mistake is not to acknowledge the mistake. That's
so
the real mistake. I love having people point out and critique things that I've written or spoken. I learn, I get stronger, I get better. The problem is when there is a mistake and we don't acknowledge it as a mistake. That's the only real serious mistake as far as I'm concerned.
That's okay. That's not an interruption. It's well spoken. I wasn't really speaking about you. I was really talking about myself.
No, you were definitely talking about me, Vishwakarmaji.
So I just wanted to say this, Prabhu, and to all of us, sure. And, people have called us, me, and Yaśodā, well, how come you have Garuda on the program? It's an audience. And people have read things and seen things that other people comment on. Everybody's in the world of opinion. And my point to all of them is, our goal is to bring people together, not send them away. Sure, there's mistakes. I've made mistakes. You've admitted you've made mistakes. All of us here that are half conscious of who we are in this material world understand we're on a journey in time to try to get out of this material world. And you have to learn how to pick yourself up after you make a mistake and keep running with the ball. Don't give up. And here we're trying to bring people together under this banner of Prabhupada's legacy to protect it for the next thousands and thousands of years in his books and in his wonderful pastimes that he has created for us in the Hare Krishna ISKCON movement. Pick yourself up. Start to walk again. Do better. And join your hands with your God brothers and God sisters and give strength to this mission by our cooperation. This is what we're after. And the people that don't want to do it, don't. We don't want people, Garuda Prabhu, that we're going to them and begging them, oh, please come and serve. No, we're discussing it. But when they step up and they run up to the front of the class and they say, I'm with you, I'm going to do it, I'm going to take the lead role, then we all stand up and cheer together and we march together and we'll be a victorious team in spreading the Sankirtan movement as the movement that's saving the legacy of Srila Prabhupada. Now, someone would say, how do you know? Well, we'll keep working, and Krishna is with us. Krishna is with us. Prabhupada is with us. And all of you are proof to myself and Yaśodā and our team that everybody is coming together in this group step by step, and we'll work at it and work on it until we get that team that will make this movement come back to reality the way Prabhupada created it. Nilesh Sharma in Fort Lauderdale or Miami, and he might be in a car with no light, so we can barely see you. That's unfortunate, by the way, and your microphone may not work. But your comments are always interesting, so please,
Hare Krishna,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Go ahead. Go ahead, young man.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, today is a very, very auspicious day.
Yes.
I don't know if everybody knows this. And the topic is so correlated to what has transpired with me today. It is interesting to note that today is Ashadi Ekadashi, Shayani Ekadashi or Ashadi Ekadashi. It is a very most prominent day in the life of a person who is from Maharashtra or the state of Maharashtra. Why? Because today there are more than 1 million people who go to Pandharpur to take darshan of Vithoba and Rukmini Mai. Vithoba and Rukmini Mai are the worshipable deities of none other than Sant Tukaram. Who is Sant Tukaram? He is one of the initiates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who initiated the Sankirtan movement in Maharashtra on his behalf. So what happens is today it is the culmination of 21 days where people walk from the birthplace of Gnaneshwar, Sant Gnaneshwar, or from Sant Tukaram's place towards Pandharpur. And what are they doing? They walk to that place singing and chanting the glories of Vithoba. This is Sankirtan movement. If you want to know, I sent a link to Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu via email. And if you can see it, it is absolutely wonderful. What is the real essence of this bhakti movement is described here, where people from different villages, if they want to take part in that, there is a person who's in charge of a small group called Dindi. They call Dindi means they are a small group of people who come from the same village, and they join this whole procession, this main procession, which is heading towards Pandharpur. Till date, this system has been going on for more than 200 years. People who want to participate in this pilgrimage generally cost about 3,000 to 5,000 Indian rupees, INR. Till date, there has been no mishandling of any of these funds. Nobody has taken the money and disappeared. This money is used so that wherever the predetermined stops are, the pilgrims are given food, shelter, etc., etc. And talk about dasanu, 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 das bhava. All through the path, because it's a predetermined path, there are people who will distribute biscuits or cookies and water and other paraphernalia and take care of these pilgrims as they go. Because remember, anybody who has gone on a pilgrimage is people prostrate to them. Why? Because, hey, I'm unable to go. You are going to the pilgrimage. Can you please pray on my behalf? And they become almost reverential. And what do they do? In what circumstances they do? Because these people, they sometimes sleep on the floor. They just spread their dhoti, they sleep on the floor, they rest, they eat out of their hand. Simple stuff. What is Sankirtan? We need to understand from here, because many times we get too caught up over here criticizing the other camps and stuff like that. But sometimes we need some positive inspiration. And this is what we need to look at, because today is a very, very great day. So mistakes all do, because we're all conditioned souls. But how we can coexist, how we can continue this Sankirtan movement, this Varkari movement has to be looked in. And people can look it up on YouTube videos. There are so many of that. Billion people going there. No egos hurt, no ambitiousness. Everybody wants to just do one thing, is take darshan of Panduranga and share with everybody. So the person who was taking the video also, this person asked, hey, why don't you share? You want to have some prasad with us? I said, no, I'm okay. So even though you have not been a part of that Dindi, meaning that group, you have not contributed, they still want to share prasadam with you. This is the spirit of a true devotee. And I just wanted to share this on the special occasion of Ashadi Ekadashi. So may Vithoba, may Panduranga bless us in our mission, and we continue this and not exclude anybody, as you just said. We are here to incorporate all the Jagais and Madais of this world. I may be that Jagai, I may be that Madai, but if you cannot ban me. Why? Because Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada has made this moment for people like me who are Jagai and Madais who have made such blunders in the past, but now want to improve. Hare Krishna.
Yes, your microphone was cutting out quite a bit, unfortunately. So thank you anyway. It somewhat came through.
Sorry.
That's okay. Just beware of that so we can hear you. And the point that I made at the beginning of the program for us was that it is essential we work together. That's the problem. Most people do not work together. This is not a sentimental group. We're of a different ilk here, by the way, just so we're all aware. And our experience is preaching Krishna consciousness in North America, which is a very difficult terrain to deal with. It's not like the motherland, where people are naturally drawn to Krishna. This is the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya in the West. And to bring people together here is not easy because everyone's got so many opinions. This is not criticism. This is truth we speak. Some people think, oh, we're not criticizing anybody. We're trying to explain the reality of Krishna consciousness to serious seekers of the truth. And some people look at it, oh, you're criticizing. You're criticizing. You're saying it's the Lassi Samosa Sampradaya. Well, it is. How is it that they're offering prasadam in San Diego with some guru no one's ever heard of, and his kirtan and bhajan, nobody knows what it is, and our godbrothers go there and they're repulsed? What is going on? So Prabhupada is at the center of this mission. We have a plan, Prabhu, I don't know if I sent it to you, for a Prabhupada Memorial Center, and we're not going to discuss it right now. But it's a very ambitious plan. You know, I was also in the real estate industry in my karmi work after the temple and had somewhat of success. Useless, but this is not useless. To put Prabhupada at the center of a memorial with all his artifacts, his archives, with his focus, 100% is the greatest preacher since the history of the modern world. Who's doing that? Shama, who's doing it? Tell me one person. Nobody. It's all diluted, the whole thing. So this will take millions of dollars to pull off, not a few dollars. Can we handle it? Oh, yes, we can. Do we have Krishna's mercy? Yes, we do. Are we Prabhupada's servants without motivation? Yes, we are. And let's march together as a team, working consciously to establish this mission and save the material world from going completely to hell. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could give a last few words.
Well, very important point you're raising here. And all we can do is encourage devotees to come and participate in this process, help with the printing of Prabhupada's original books, carry on programs in the various areas, such as Nilesh Prabhu is doing, and Krishna Katha Prabhu is doing, and so many devotees. In whatever capacity one has, one should, just like today, I got a voicemail from a very nice devotee, Suparna Govinda, who basically has books. He buys books, original books, and he finds book distributor and he gives them the book so that the book distribution can be increased.
Yes.
Very valuable service, very valuable service. So anybody who wants to do some service, connect with Srila Prabhupada, we welcome them to participate. It is not a very difficult issue. We are not against anyone. We're
No.
not against ISKCON or any group. That is not the issue. The issue is to present Prabhupada's teachings exactly according to his instruction. And when we see that things are being distorted, things are being changed, things are being polluted, just like this week somebody sent me an email of somebody in India who was selling programs, charging money to teach people how to play the mridanga, the kartal, and how to do the kirtan. Did Prabhupada charge money to us when he basically came to America and started the chanting and the preaching? No. Prabhupada so many times says the mantra is available to everyone. There is no fee. There is no cost. So we have to work together to try to present Prabhupada's teachings in their pure and original forms. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, and we wanted to ask as we wind up today's program, please, I had a chance to work on my Vyas Puja offering. Garuda, please write one for our posts on the Hare Krishna Society website. And other people are writing their homage to Srila Prabhupada as part of our association. And we have an oath of allegiance, by the way, Nilesh, that we've designed. We haven't implemented it. It was drawn up based on an old oath of allegiance that was in ISKCON during Prabhupada's personal presence. And basically, it's commitment to the process and the mission to protect his legacy. And like that, we're moving forward with all kinds of programs, our newsletters, our online classes, our YouTube channel with over 300 classes and tens of thousands of views that many people are taking advantage of. Now the publication of Prabhupada's books and an ambitious plan to introduce it through our 18 outreach centers, branch offices. Yes. And we'll go forward with that with some new ideas. And be patient and bless everyone with this opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness. If anyone in our group knows an architect that would like to help us with the designs of our plan, please get in touch with me. And number two, if you have anyone that is interested in helping us with technology, work, production of our shows, and other service for the internet to help our team, this program is running on a very small group of people. We do need more people to step up and try to help us. We would appreciate it, and I'm sure you'll get Krishna's mercy and Prabhupada's blessings by taking up some service, tangible service. And in this way, we'll come together as a team of people that are working cooperatively for serving the mission of Srila Prabhupada and protecting his legacy and helping the conditioned souls find the proper path out of this entangled repetition of birth and death called material existence. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement. Let's move forward, Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu, with the chanting of Hare Krishna from Srila Prabhupada back in 66, playing the bongo drum, Haribo.
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating. Vishwakarma Prabhu for hosting, and Venkat Bhatta Prabhu in Bangalore for managing the program in his excellent service. Nilesh Prabhu, your wonderful commentary. Krishna Katha, you're very steady like a rock, presenting the work of the Srila Prabhupada, his first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and every devotee who comes to the program. Thank you for participating. We'll see you all on Saturday morning. I might be on the road driving, but I will do my best to stop somewhere and still participate. Again, Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam সাবধূতং পরিজনা সহিতং কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য